Right, hello everybody. We are back with another recording about whiskey and other things. Or actually, no, it's just whiskey today.
Yeah, just whiskey.
We thought it might be useful, or at least diverting, to distract you from the fact that it's super hard to get Springbank, with some suggestions for other things that you might drink that provide some of the sort of flavour notes that you find in Springbank. We're currently on tea and coffee, which is always a good alternative, but
Especially if I'm driving later.
especially if you're driving that. But we do get people coming into the shop a lot, heading straight to the Campbeltown section and then being a little bit sad. So we do have a repertoire of things that we suggest that have at least some of the flavour characteristics. So starting with the Campbeltown Loch. So Matthew, tell us about Campbeltown Loch.
I wish it were whiskey. So Campbeltown Loch is a blended malt bottled by Springbank. It contains only whiskies from Campbeltown. So the three makes from Springbank, so Springbank, Hazelburn and Longrow, plus Glen, so Kilkerran whiskey, and Glen Scotia. So this we have much more often, and frequently will be on the shelf for longer than Springbank, which will fly out the door. So this is, if you want to taste what Springbank is like, this is just a really good, inexpensive alternative, and it does contain Springbank, most importantly.
And it's like the other Mitchell's whiskies, it varies from batch to batch. So sometimes it's more sherry, sometimes less sherry. So it's always interesting to try a new batch.
Yeah. It's just great whiskey.
Good value from it.
I think it kind of, people get turned off by the fact it says blended on it, but it's such a great product. And if you like Springbank, this is a really, really good option.
So then we've got another blend. This time it is actually a blended Scotch rather than a blended malt. It's produced by the same people that are responsible for Adelphi and the Ardnamurchan malt. So it is a no age statement blended whiskey, but it's very much it follows the what you might think of as the West Highland style. So there's a nice bit of smoke to it. There's some sweetness to it. It's an easygoing, soft whiskey, but it does have that same sort of characteristic that we're talking about. The same sort of profile as you would find in the whiskies of Kintyre or in Campbeltown Loch.
And crucially contains mostly Ardnamurchan malt.
Aye. Yeah. So then, moving on to Ardnamurchan itself, when we were listing things that we should include in this wee roundup, our colleague John, who's behind the camera just now, he suggested the Ardnamurchan sherry release as something that offers you the same sort of flavours you'd get from Springbank 15-year-old, which is maybe the hardest Springbank to get hold of, it being the kind of well matured and sherried Springbank. So this is obviously younger whiskey than that. It's a batch released from time to time from Ardnamurchan, but it is sherry cask matured, so it's got the sweetness.
Yep. We currently have some in stock.
Aye, as I say, it's a batch product, so it's not like Springbank. It's not snow off a dike, but it is a batch, so there will be gaps in the shelf there occasionally.
Absolutely.
And then back to Campbeltown, we've got Glen Scotia, which is the perhaps slightly less sought after Campbeltown distillery. But the whiskies, especially in modern times, they're really up there in terms of the quality. We picked out the Victoriana in particular as being, I think Glen Scotia themselves would say it's old-fashioned.
It's also cask strength.
It's this higher strength as well, so it's got intensity of flavour to it. It's no age statement, but there is a fraction of older whiskey in it, so it's, you know, it's mature, old-fashioned. It's got some of that Campbeltown funk, that useless word that you know it when you taste it. You'll know it when you taste the funk.
A delicious whiskey, and I think it really shows the depth of quality of whiskey in Campbeltown. You know, when you see whiskies like this and Springbank and Glengyle, and the whiskies are just excellent.
And then just wrapping up with Benromach 10.
I love Benromach. I just think it's great, you know.
We're jumping over to the other side of the country here, but Benromach, there is a little bit of peat used in making the whiskey, and as Matt says, I'd agree with Matt, the quality of what they produce is certainly up there. It maybe doesn't quite have the funky note that you would find on the West Coast.
No, it doesn't have the funk, but there's a textural element to it, and like it's an old-fashioned style of whiskey, so it's got weight to it, and there's intensity, particularly if you see any cask strength bottlings, like you just grab them. They're so good.
So anyway, these are a few things that you might want to think about whilst you're waiting for the next Springbank release, which there's none on the shelves just now. Okay, folks, see you next time.
Cheers, folks. See you soon.